You must understand why Panjshir is so important. It is known as the area of 5 lions, the Panjshir. But it's been a nightmare for the invaders, and I want to take you through point by point. It's been considered as having been, with its natural defenses, never being conquered. It is known as one of those free citadels that's always been, was never conquered even by the Taliban. Region is tucked into the Hindu Kush mountains. So whether it is its geographical location, logistically, it's always been at an advantage. The geographically valley has been cut off from rest of the Afghanistan. So while of course it is part of the country, it always had its own culture, its own ethnicities, and importantly had its own defense forces that had been there for centuries. In fact, narrow passage created by the Panjshir River is the only access point. One of the reasons that it's not been easily whether conquered, invaded or accessed by any government. These narrow stretch for access can be defended easily. But that, remember, defense is also now, as Gaurav also telling us, unequal in so many ways, given now what Taliban forces have at their disposal. Valley is known for its emeralds, and of course these are natural resources that we are telling you, and that is why perhaps attracting attention as well. Emeralds are used to finance the resistance movement. They do have the support. The world is watching the Panjshir area, and importantly, these are some of the points that you must know why Panjshir is of extremely important value for now. I want to go across to our senior colleagues. Remember, all of them have been tracking different aspects of it. I want to first go across to Abhishek Bhalla, because Abhishek, we've been talking about the geographical aspect of it. The fact that Taliban today has arsenal with it, ammunition with it, all of that equipment that was left abandoned by the US forces. Do you think that will come into the fore here while the Panjshir resistance forces are trying to defend their territory?
Pooja, it was never going to be easy for the resistance forces this time around, even though Panjshir has been a bastion against any kind of aggression, and it had held its fort. But this time around, the Taliban got the better of 3 lakh plus Afghan forces. So obviously it was a question of time. Till now, perhaps there was a lot of negotiation happening. There were a lot of talks happening behind the scenes, even though, what we saw is that Panjshir had become the center of resistance, but that doesn't mean that there was no negotiation happening. Now it seems that there has certainly been a setback, a bit of a jolt for the resistance forces. There have been some casualties at the high level as well. How long can they continue with this resistance is the question, because the Taliban obviously is in a position to take over the area. But again, the question remains whether they would want to talk to the resistance forces or use complete brutal force to take over. Since there have been casualties, it seems there has been intense fighting going on. Amrullah Saleh, there were reports initially that he had fled, but now there are reports coming in that he's still in the region. And in fact, one of the places where he was staying was attacked. It was bombarded, and that's where he escaped and went into a hideout. But as I said, the big question remains, how long will this resistance continue? Because the Taliban is in a position to take over this last bastion.